Alrighty, here we have it. The new Aston Martin DBX, Aston Martin's first ever SUV, first ever car with four-wheel drive, and the first car to be built in their new factory in St Athan, Wales. And here it is. I mean, it's been 4 years in production, and now it's finally here. The car was just unveiled about 2 weeks ago in England, and we're very fortunate to have this very first example, I believe, in Africa, right here in South Africa. This is just amazing, the Aston Martin DBX. Just to walk around, I'm going to talk you through every single bit about this car. So starting off with here, we've got the classic grille. This is called the DB grille. It's been around since the 60s with the DB5, the iconic model. As you can see, this is probably the biggest grille that's ever been fitted to an Aston Martin. And the badge is also the biggest badge that they've ever fitted to an Aston Martin. So just looking at it from the front, it's very distinctly Aston Martin. The doors even rise as you open them. As you can see, they're not straight in line. They open slightly up, similar to the Aston Martins of old, at a slight 30-degree angle, just to show that it's still distinctly Aston Martin. Everything on this car is very functional. Like, there's nothing there just for show. It is very functional. We've got a front splitter here. On this example, it's in carbon fiber. And then we have this is where the daytime running lights are, DRLs. That's what they're called. So this illuminates, but as you can see here, it's not just a gap. So they made this an air duct, but they made it functional and have this around it. I think that's a really cool thing. And one thing that the design chief of Aston Martin was saying, Miles Nürnberger, was just saying their idea was to reduce clutter on the car, just to make everything seamless, and we'll see that as we go around the car. So this is the front. Underneath the bonnet, there's a very familiar 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, which produces 550 PS. Now that's a European measurement. On this side of the world, that's 405 kilowatts, which is pretty massive, and it produces 700 newton meters of torque. That means 0 to 100 is tackled in just roughly 4.3 or 4.5 seconds onto a top speed of 290 kilometers an hour. That is insane. I mean, Aston Martin has waited this long to produce their SUV. This is the first production SUV. Their first SUV attempt at an SUV was back in 2009 with the Lagonda concept. I believe that was based on the GL platform from Mercedes, but that didn't see the day of light. This, however, is right here. And I think it's important to note that Aston Martin has been known for their mantra of power, beauty, and soul. And I think this car still represents that. It still has aspects of power, obviously the engine, 405 kilowatts, 700 newton meters of torque. Beauty, it's still distinctly Aston Martin, and I think they really nailed it. And then in terms of soul, well, we can't really start this car up because it's like a pre-production model, so it's not fully, functional and things like that. But it's just like a show car that's been going around the world. As you can see on the bonnet here, we've got these nostrils on the top, and those are very functional, obviously from the DB family. We've seen those on the DB11, I believe, both V12 and V8 cars. Moving on to the side, we have 22-inch wheels as standard. These are massive wheels, and I love this wheel design. They're calling it a ribbon. I think it's pretty cool. Like, it's very impressive. Everything on this car, as I said earlier, is very functional, so nothing is just there for show. If you come here, it is actually open. Right there, you've got a carbon fiber side sill, the doors that open majestically. You've got that interior. Oh my goodness, like, would you just look at that? Which is very interesting. So you've got a 12.3 digital screen over there next to a 10.25 screen in the center console. Everything has been revamped. I think we'll look into the inside a bit later, but right now let's just talk you through everything on the outside. If you look at this B pillar, there's no demarcation whatsoever of lines and things like that, because again, they wanted a seamless finish on the car. Nothing, just to reduce clutter, to make it seamless. If you look at the door, you've got this beautiful door, and then as soon as the door ends, you move into the glass. That's something that the design chief was also emphasizing. Beautiful leather and Alcantara on the inside. We'll get to that in a moment. I just want to walk you through around the car. So it's got this coupe style shape, which is very unique. I mean, that's where SUVs are pretty much going nowadays. So it's very understandable. Then we move on to the rear, which is something very similar that we have seen already in other Aston Martin cars. So we've got these two-side exhausts, very similar to the Vantage. I'll close the boot later on, but just to show you the inside of the car. So you've got this mesh on the side, very distinct Aston Martin from the Vantage. You got exhausts here, pretty big, they're really good. This one is finished in, there's a whole lot of carbon fiber. The paint job is actually very special. It's called Morning Frost, and it's like a pearlescent white, like it shimmers depending on what angle, excuse me, you're looking at it. It's got gold flake, as one of the guys just talked us through earlier as he was giving a brief on the car. It's just, wow, it's amazing. It's pearlescent white. It's not like a usual white, it's not flat white, but it just shimmers and shines. And then in the back here, they have actually an optional 11-pack accessory option. So you can have a dog pack where there's a little cushion, your dog can come in for the ride, and you can also have like accessories where you have, perhaps you can hold your guns, there's space for like willies, your gum boots, you can put them underneath there. As you can see, you can lift that thing, and it's got an amazing, a class-leading 632 liters of boot space. That is amazing. That is more than anything on the market right now. So that is very impressive for Aston Martin. Coming around to this side, you see this, very distinct. We've seen that before in previous Aston Martins. Oh my goodness, I can't even speak. And yeah, it is just amazing. Like, the car itself, like, I'm hugely impressed. I am very, very impressed. I won't lie to you. We're gonna look at the inside just now, and it is just unbelievably cool. It really is cool, and yeah, it's wow. So this is the fourth car in the Aston Martin second century plan. Obviously, things started off back in 2016 with the DB11, which was codenamed the Gentleman, obviously because the way it looks, it's very distinct, seamless, it's just, calm personality. Then it moved on to the Vantage, which they call the Hunter because of its, sloping roof and, just bold stance. They called it the Hunter. And then the third car in this second century plan was the DBS Superleggero, which is their ultimate Super GT. Like, it's probably the most potent car that they make right now, and this is the fourth car in this second century plan. And it's just a cool car, and I believe it makes sense that Aston Martin waited roughly 4 years, because they said this car has been in production for the last 4 years. They've been doing research. I mean, I believe it's somewhat of a flooded market. There's so many options on the market in terms of SUVs. I read somewhere, I'm not sure how true that is, but almost 50% of new car sales today are SUVs. So even some of these sports car manufacturers are jumping onto the bandwagon, because that's just the way to go. And I think Aston Martin really did a good thing in terms of them waiting, seeing what's happening, and that sort of thing. And I think they've actually nailed it in terms of how they've positioned this car. So most of the competitors, obviously you're looking at Porsche Cayenne Coupe, Bentley Bentayga, Range Rover Sport, and and the like. And those are all good cars, but Aston Martin has made this super practical. They've looked at the flaws of other makers and and they built this car from the ground up. Like, no hesitations, no nothing. It's not based on any other car. This is a completely Aston Martin from the ground up. Although Aston Martin and Mercedes have a technological partnership, this is not a Mercedes GLE platform whatsoever. It's distinctly Aston Martin and full on, and it's just absolutely amazing. We've got a couple of carbon fiber options on it, so that's also a pretty neat feature. And it's just, I mean, just look at it. It's absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. Oh, it's crazy. I think it's time to, let me just hop on inside and show you around. So you jump in. Oh, look at this wonderful interior. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like I was saying, that is the 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. Really cool. I think it's the first. Obviously, in this car, this is just a show car. Nothing is fully functional, as delivery is only going to start next year in 2020. I'm going to move on to the side. This is very distinct Aston Martin as well. And I just want you to look around. If you look around, as you see, there are no buttons. It's not too cluttered. It's just nice and seamless. These are actually speakers that have been meshed into the let me just zoom in there. Let's focus on that. Come on, don't let me down. Don't let me down. Come on. Oh wow. Hi, boy. Sorry there, but yeah, there we have it. So this is a seamless thing. It's just amazing. These are actually speakers that have just been formed, and just to make it one seamless pattern. Not again to reduce clutter. They've thought about everything. You have this nice screen in the middle here. This is a very cool feature. I'm not sure if you step on the brake at all. No, it won't. But yeah, I've got really cool buttons. You've got the driver modes here. You've got GT, Sport, and Sport Plus. It also has Terrain and Terrain Plus, which is also pretty cool. You've got this, which is very familiar. We've seen this Mercedes. But Aston Martin, obviously, because of their technological partnership, they have some of the pieces, some of the technology trickling down into this particular model. And it's so cool. And there's an open space here. And I think this is really cool because Aston Martin is actually hoping to attract a whole lot of female customers. So this makes sense. I mean, a lady could just put her handbag over there, which is going to be really neat. Yeah, you can raise the car up or down. It's got hill descent, which controls you as you go down a particular gradient or slope. You've got this that opens up for nice cup holders. Steering wheel is really nice. And I think one thing I need to probably jump out. But this is probably one of the first steering wheels that we've seen from Aston Martin that is actually, circular. It's not rectangular. It's not like a square. This is full circular because again, it's an SUV. It has to be practical. And yeah, this is so cool. We've got nice big shifty paddles at the back. I love those. Aston Martin really do a good job. I've seen from the Vantage back in 2016, so that is absolutely cool. We'll move back here. It's got ample space, really ample space. And I think one thing to note, or even a tall person. So I think the manager, the owner of this place, the Daytona, Justin actually stepped into this car, and he's 6'5". Yeah, he's 6'5", and he was able to fit into the car and sit perfectly. That's how great. That's how at length they've gone with this car. They just wanted to make it better in every single way. So if I show you, I'm not the tallest guy on planet Earth, but if you just, very seamless. Very, very seamless. Enough headroom, enough legroom, and the good thing about this is you can actually put your legs right underneath because of the way that they've just manufactured the car. That's how they made it. They wanted it to be super, super, super practical, and I think they've nailed it. They really have nailed it. It's very spacious in here. You can easily sit 3 people, 3 adults, and for a nice, comfortable journey. So which is really cool. Let me show you what else is on the inside here. Now these seats were adapted from the DB11. Obviously what Aston Martin has learned from their sports cars now has been transferred to their SUVs, and to this first SUV, and it's not a train smash. It's just using what you've learned over the years to still make this the ultimate sports car, and it's absolutely amazing. It really is cool. One thing that is very special about this is this panoramic roof, and it comes as standard. Look at how long it stretches for. Like it's from the front right all the way to the back. Panoramic roof, which comes standard on this car. You got some nice buttons over there. There's beautiful Alcantara all over. It's just quality. It is quality. You'll have your air vents over there. This quilted leather, very comfortable. Aston Martin badge embossed over there. That's very usual. We're used to that. And it's just insane. It's quality in here. It's absolutely amazing. You've got some wood trim on the side there, which is absolutely gorgeous as well. And just to step outside, there's one feature at the back here. So if we were to close this, I think let me just lower it very gently. I'll try and lower it very, very gently. Very gently. Ooh. Okay. I'm just gonna make it stand like that. Okay. As you can see, there's no rear wheel. There's no windscreen wiper at the back here, because the way that they designed the roof is in a sense that there's an opening here. As you can see, my hand just kind of poking through there. There's no rear windscreen wiper, so the way they designed it is, as the water will just run down, and will just fall down on the sides without any. So there's really no need for a windscreen wiper. And there's the back, as you can see, very distinctly Vantage-like. But it's a sports car, obviously Aston Martin, and some of the models will definitely show up in this car, and I think it's impressive. I think Aston Martin have really found a niche in this sports SUV market, because everybody's making them, and there's a whole lot of choice. but I think Aston Martin has distinctly placed itself in a position where they are not like any other car. They're not like any other brand. It's just them. I mean, obviously, I remember Matt Becker, who's the chief designer at Aston Martin, was talking about how they looked at the market, they saw what was up for sale in terms of some sports SUVs that were very sporty, they're like ultra powerful, and some SUVs are a little more on the GT side, more comfort, more luxury. And I think this is a great balance of sportiness and luxury. It is just amazing. And I think just taking it back to Aston Martin's whole mantra of power, beauty, and soul, I think this car has completely fulfilled that. It definitely looks the part. Like, it really does look the part, and it is insane. It really is insane. Like, I'm falling in love with it. Yeah, it's crazy. Ooh, I don't think I mentioned the wheelbase. So from the front wheel to the rear wheel, it's 3 meters long. 3 meters long. The car, I believe, is what? Maybe 5? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that makes mathematical sense. But the wheelbase, 3 meters long. And so they've really been working and trying to make this car as practical as possible. It is luxurious and practical as they possibly can. So the ride height, because of the modes that this car comes in, so at standard, so think of this as, let me turn on the camera. So think of this as, this is the GT mode. So it's got GT, Sport, and Sport Plus. So GT, ride height is here. The moment you put it into terrain, it rises up by 15 millimeters. And then if you put it in terrain plus, it goes up by a further 30. So that's 45 millimeters of just ride height. Then it can also drop by 50 millimeters, drop for its more aggressive and sporty settings. And that access mode actually helps you get into the car more easily, or even put luggage in the back. So it's those little details. It's those little details that just make it, even more worthwhile. And I think Aston Martin has really gone to town on this. Everything in it looks absolutely amazing. In South Africa, we're probably going to get some of the demo versions sometime next year in May, June, thereabout. Starting price about 3.6 million rand. I think that's a good price, if you ask me. Yeah, this is completely rare. One, you're getting something that's distinctly Aston Martin, whose chassis is not shared by any other model. It's completely Aston Martin from the ground up, and it's just amazing. Who knows what future models might come out of this? So yeah, it's wow. I wasn't expecting to be blown away by it, but I just am. I really am. I really am. It's insane. It really is insane. I mean, just look at that. Especially in this paint job, this morning frost. It is insane. It really is insane. Woo! Yeah. Man, I've been going on and on and on for some time now, but it's absolutely insane. I really love it. So this was just a quick walk around after the press briefing earlier on, and I just thought I'd walk around the car and show you guys some of the main highlights and what it's all about and what you can expect and what sort of proposition this is for Aston Martin, because there really isn't anything like it. Yeah, I really love Aston Martin's second century plan. Like, it's really shaping up to be the best plan ever. I mean, I've always loved Aston Martins, but I always felt like they were missing a little something. They were always beautiful, but I've always felt like they lacked power, and they just weren't up there with other competitors. But now they seem to be changing that with the second century plan, and I think it's amazing. It's the fourth car. I'm not sure how many more cars are going to come through, but yep, Aston Martin is definitely doing the things, as we say down here in South Africa. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I was rambling for hours, oh my god. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video of the first look at the Aston Martin DBX. Please be sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, what you'd like to see more of, hopefully when the press cars start coming down to South Africa. And yeah, hope to see you in my next video. Cheers.